Hey, we're working on the Epic again. Yeah, I know. Try not to have a stroke. Last time we worked on the Epic project, we fitted up the rear brakes and we found, much to our horror, that the wheel centers for our street wheels, the plan for the street wheels, actually interfered a little bit with the calipers. So on this episode, what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and resolve that. We're also going to try and get our street wheel centers mounted up into our 15 by 8 hoops, and ideally get our street tires mounted up and fitted onto the Epic. Let's see how it goes. All right, so last time we left off when we tried putting the steel wheels on, and again, we're just using the centers off of these things, but when you slide these on and you bolt it down, it's locked up in place because what's happening is the wheel is actually hitting the caliper a little bit. Okay, so if we look at the inside of the wheel, okay, this edge here is what's contacting a caliper. You can see it's already been grinding paint off right there. And this edge kind of goes up and down. So it's got a bit of a sinusoidal thing going on it. So I experimented with spacing the wheel out, just started with some stacks of washers and found out that I needed some really big stacks of washers. So went to the old wheel spacers that I had from the Mustang. I actually had to cut the center bigger so it would fit over the axle stub. So I used my mini lathe to do that. But if I put on a 1/2 inch spacer, then I can actually bolt it down and everything clears. So I thought, okay, there's a solution there. But the problem is this is going to run into the inside of the wheel. Let me show you on the other wheel here. So these are the 15 by 8 hoops that we're going to use. And let me just make sure the camera's pointed in the right direction here. Okay, so I've assembled the caliper and rotor from the other side. And if we drop this in here, okay, and we center it on the hub hole, okay, the caliper, probably hard to see here, but the caliper is just about to hit the inside of the wheel where the wheel, okay, narrows down. And the problem is this wheel has a 5-inch back spacing on it right now. What we need is a 5.5 inch back spacing. So if we move this whole assembly a 1/2 inch further down into the wheel, well, then again, the caliper is going to hit that pretty badly. Okay, so another way to show this problem is the great thing about Wilwood is they give you detailed instructions, and their detailed instructions, let me just get this on the camera, include the clearance dimensions around everything. So we can use that and we can make a little template like this, and you can see if I put my template into the wheel and try and center the hub, I'm already hitting the caliper into that fat part of the wheel. So what I thought was going to be a really simple operation of cutting the center out of this wheel, okay, and then cutting the center out of my existing wheel, and then swapping that center into this center and welding it all up at the correct backspace, well, that's not going to work now. So what we're going to have to do is a couple of things. One, let's start with the small wheel. Okay, so this lip here is about 1 inch at the thickest and probably about 3/4 of an inch at the thinnest. Again, this lip goes up and down as you go around the wheel. So we're going to have to machine this down, I'd say at least 3/4 of an inch. And that should still give me lots of meat there that I can use to weld this onto the other hoop. So that's one thing that has to happen. The other bigger operation on this wheel now is we need to narrow this section. So this, on the inside of the wheel, this is what hits on the calipers. So we need to move that this way so that we can get the back spacing that we need. So what we're going to need to do is cut maybe an inch or maybe a little bit more out of this section here. Yeah, I'm thinking an inch. We need probably at least this much here just to get the tires on and off. So if we cut this section down in half, then we add whatever we cut out of here onto here, so we still get the 15x8 wheel, but we end up moving the problem area here away from the caliper. So that is well beyond the capabilities that I have in the shop here, so we are going to go to the local wheel company and see if they can do this job for us. Let's see how that goes. All right, it's the next day now, and we just got back from the wheel shop, and you'll notice that our wheels haven't changed. Turns out they can't do what we needed them to do. They can widen and narrow steel wheels, but only in this section. They can't widen this section because it's not actually completely cylindrical. So now what are our options going to be? Because I am determined to still run these wheels, or at least the centers of these wheels, on the street to match what hopefully is going to fit on the front. So we've got a few options here. One is I can try and call Wilwood and see if there's a possibility that we can get a smaller, lower profile caliper that will work with our existing setup. Another option might be if we can get a rotor that's got more offset that pushes this whole thing back deeper into the car so it doesn't interfere with the wheel. Another option, even though I hate to even think about it, is to just give up on discs and go to drum brakes and the problem's solved. And there might be other crazy options yet too, like maybe cutting the centers out of these things and sandwiching them in front of like a Weld drag light or a Centerline auto drag. So I've got to see what's available in back spacings for those wheels, because that's not something we can exactly custom make. And my pockets aren't deep enough to go to a full-on custom backspace aluminum drag wheel. So I think I'm going to end this video here because I don't know how long it's going to take to solve this problem. So this is not a happy ending on this video. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments, suggestions, subscriptions, the likes, everything. As usual, be kind, be humble. We'll see you next time. Last time we worked on the Epic project, we got the rear brakes fitted up, and we got, take two. GoPro, you suck.